Right, so welcome to Port Vale, David. How are you feeling at the moment?
Feeling great. It's been great to come to the club today and meet the people that I've been having Zoom calls with and getting to meet the team and the people that I'm going to be working with. And it's just an exciting project that we're undertaking here and one that I couldn't wait to get started on.
And so, Director of Football, can you tell us how that role has came about?
Well, I was obviously I applied for the job and then I spoke to Carol at probably we about a 2 hour conversation ended up being a 5 hour conversation, and within that, when I understood the vision and what Carol wanted from the football club and Port Vale going forward and the future and what the future looked like, it became quite apparent that over the last however many years it was a big undertaking, a big job for one manager to come in, wave a magic wand and everything be all right. There wasn't no football infrastructure at the club. That hasn't been built that way. So from a recruitment point of view to the physical stats to the injury stats, I looked at every single detail, and there was a lot of holes in that football plan for one person to plug, and that's a tough vision and a tough ask actually. Recruiting players, developing players, trying to get to the championship, win games with a style of football. That's one hell of a big job and one hell of a big commitment. So we looked at it. We looked at how could we do that. If that's the vision, how do we build a strategy in? And with my experience and with my sort of knowledge and understanding, then we almost got to a point where we had to look at it differently. We had to think differently. We had to think outside the box. And I really believe that you go into a football club, and if all infrastructure's in place, you can achieve great things. But that infrastructure isn't at Port Vale. What I loved is that Carol didn't hide that fact. I was very honest with her and told her what, in my opinion, we needed. And Carol and the board are quite inexperienced at running a football club, and I can give them that experience. We can work together. We can support each other and be that conduit between the football plan and the financial plan, which runs alongside each other.
And you've spent some time getting to know the chair and the other directors. What are your first impressions of Port Vale as a club and the vision from the owners?
Well, it's you just know you're in. When I come to Port Vale, and I've played against Port Vale in the past, you can feel the passion. You can feel that you're dealing with real people, real fans that love the football club. And that's what I found when I spoke to Carol and the board. That's what I felt. You get a feel, you get a gut feeling that you're in a place where football's really important. You've had a tough week at work, and you want to come on a Saturday and have a brilliant experience. You want to feel good about yourself when you're inside the stadium, when you walk into the stadium, when you're walking home from the stadium. So I always have a gut feeling about where I'm at, the place I'm in, and I got that vibe, and I could feel it. We're talking about someone who really cares about the club in Carol. We're talking about a committed person, which aligns my values, and I think all the values that I believe in as a person, and I've been lucky enough to be charged with all my life, really, through sort of my dad's teachings and my mum and dad's upbringing. I just felt that I am in the right place with the right people here, and that was a massive decision on me taking this incredible opportunity.
And your brief is quite wide-ranging and covers all aspects of the football business. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you see the role?
Yeah, I mean, my previous club, I've just watched, that it got done very badly. So when I've seen that and I've seen the effect of that happen, you look at it and think, right, what is that role? What does it entail? And it's a massive undertaking, but it's something that I've got a lot of experience, and I feel as though supporting that manager is probably one of the key criterias. It's a difficult place being a manager, and it's a lonely place at times, and you don't feel you've got that support. And I've had them phone conversations over a long period where you get rung at the wrong time. You get spoken to at the wrong point straight after a game. You've got chairmen and CEOs right in your face in probably the emotional time straight after a game that they can be. you get smothered by it. You're no breathing space. So being a manager and being in football for a long time, I feel as though I know where them pinch points are. I know how to support someone in that role. I think the big thing that, obviously Danny Pugh's going to be a part of Port Vale going forward. I've worked with Danny before as a manager. He was outstanding for me. We were successful together, and he's openly admitted that the management isn't for him right now. So how do you get someone to that point? The club are going to support Danny in his quest to become a coach and a manager, which is really important. And I'm part of that development. I enjoy that aspect of developing staff, players, people around me. It's something I've always done, something I've always excelled at. And I see that as a big part of this role. From a financial plan, we've got Colin Garlick, who I've worked with before for many years. One of the most honest operators and quality of operators that I've had the pleasure of working with. He's got a lot of experience in this, and I'll be working closely with Colin. That the financial plan marries the football plan. That's really important. And the football budget is spent wisely. Recruitment has been scatterbombed for a lot of years now at this football club. So we've got to pull that together. That comes with the style of play. It's all how we build it together, and that's the thing that I think a good word to use is probably, it's been scatterbombed. Everything, physical data to financial data to the football plan, how we're going to play, how we're going to represent ourselves. That's pulling all that together, and that's one hell of an undertaking for one manager to come in and do that. And as soon as I understood what Carol wanted and what the board wanted, it was a decision to look at a director of football role to bring that together.
So we understand you obviously know Danny Pugh quite well, but you're also very familiar with a lot of the players as well.
Yeah, I've fortunate of working with the players, and obviously Popey's one that I've worked with, and we had some great times with. You can't not manage Popey and have great times. He's someone I had a lot of time for. David Worrell, know David Worrell really well. Scotty Burgess, but I think on the circuit, you see everyone and you work with everyone, but it doesn't matter to me. And Popey will probably answer this better than me, but whatever their age group, whether it's an 18-year-old, 35-year-old, I look to develop them as people, as players, and become part of their life, and know what makes them tick. And I have two things, it's the why and the who. Why you're doing what you're doing and who you're doing it for. And when you find that cause in a person and it's genuine, then you can develop them, because you can always go back to that point of, let's get you back on track. Most players fall off track. It's getting them back on track and the experience of that. So, I look at how can I help Port Vale to be successful. That's the big question that, me and Carol talk for hours on. How can Dave Flitcroft help Port Vale become successful? Because that's the reason I'm coming in. And this is the role that I believe, and Carol believes, that is the role to make that success happen. I don't know, the last 10 years, Port Vale's done it a certain way. A manager will come in and fix all our problems. It's not as easy as that, So I'm supporting everyone who's in the football plan. If our physical stats aren't right, I can help support the sports science. Certainly the recruitment's going to be massive, and you've got to be proactive in that. I think that so many times you see reactive recruitment and it never works. So we're going to be really proactive in that and make sure that we get that right, because it's probably it is the most important spend at a football club. Through 24 players, you've got to spend that money wisely, and that's what we're being tasked to do. But to recruit that player, to recruit that member of staff, everyone's got stats behind them, everyone's got a story behind them, and it's making sure we do that due diligence now as a football club to make sure we get the right player into this football club who can, pull off that football plan.
And you're clearly very excited to get started. What have you labelled as your main priorities at the moment?
Well, it started, we've started the search for the manager. That's absolutely, the most important thing in my life. There's nothing more important in my life, up to this point. It's my lad's 19th birthday today, you know, and I've come into the football club, and you know, we're searching for that manager. We're looking at every single aspect of what we need to do on that, and there's been a delay. There's been, you know, 4-5 weeks, and I think when I look at that and I see that the process that the club have gone through to get this right has been, you know, absolutely meticulous in the detailing. So, you know, the first port of call was to look to see if Danny could do it and wanted to do it. Then you've got the COVID situation. Danny's then expressed a situation where he doesn't feel he's ready. So then the attention turns to a different remit, which was finding a new manager. I've come along, and then now it's a different role which the club's invested in, which gives us a fantastic opportunity. So the last 3 or 4 days we've been really looking at in depth to that, and it's my job to deliver, you know, the Port Vale public and fans that manager, that person who cares, that person who's committed, that person who cares as much as I care and as much as the board care, because that's really important, that the values of Port Vale are invested into the new manager.
There are now 18 games of the season remaining. How important is it to move forward with this managerial vacancy?
Well, I think it's been key for the board anyway to get it right, and I think you can see that with the due diligence that they've already attached to the undertaking of getting a new manager. But then, you know, I look at every single detail. You know, I'm someone who's obsessive in that. There's a lot of CVs that have come into the football club, and we've got through that list. We're understanding that list day by day. We're making the phone calls. We are speaking to everyone we can. I've got, you know, 30 years of contacts, and some of the best contacts up and down the country to be able to do that. And then we're looking at who's on that list, who's going to headline that list, and then what I can guarantee the supporters is that we'll do everything we can from a resource point of view and a due diligence point of view to choose the next manager, and we'll leave no stone unturned. That's the way I am as a person. That's the way Carol is with her business, and the board, and you know, we're aligned in our thinking, we're aligned in our modelling, but I think because a football person's making this decision, you know, it just makes it one where there is no emotion, there is no emotion with this decision. This is based on what makes Port Vale successful. Every applicant has got a strength to them, a weakness to them. If they've got a weakness, let's find out why. Let's find out what that scar is on the CV, and then try and put that right. So every single manager that gets to the top of that list will be interviewed thoroughly, and they'll have to have the qualities to take us forward and to improve us as a football club.
Just finally, David, what message do you have for supporters on day one?
We'll do everything in our power, you know, and I truly mean that, to make sure that Port Vale, we deliver to Port Vale supporters, the manager, and a group of players that makes us all proud, because, you know, we are in strange times at the minute, and there is going to be that day that supporters can come back into the stadium, and this place, you know, be brimming again with supporters. And I think every aspect of hospitality, we were all looking to get out, whether that's, you know, going to the pub, going to the cinema, going to football, going to that restaurant. And what we've got to make sure is that when that happens, and when we are allowed back in, that we've delivered on a promise to make it different, to make it better, to make it passionate, to make it committed. And you know, that's something as we go forward and progress in our project, that we absolutely make happen, because that's what we delivered. That's what our task is to do. That's what the board is there for. Board of directors is to direct that football plan, you know, and that's my remit. Again, I've had a lot of experience in football, and these supporters are possibly the hardest working people, you know, in up and down the country. They fight hard for the money, and they want to see a team fight hard for them.
David, welcome to Port Vale. Best of luck.
Thank you.